It's an absolute pleasure to be with you.
You can go.
I would like to tell you this morning about human holoportation to space. This is my email address. I'd love to collaborate with you, joseph.f.schmid@nasa.gov. I'd like to start out the talk with how far can we go, how fast can we get there, and who among us are willing to do it. This is a quote from Lieutenant General Tom Stafford, who was on Gemini, Apollo 10, and the Apollo-Soyuz test project. We are getting very, very busy in space. We had previously had the shuttle, now we have the Soyuz, and we have ISS, which has been on orbit more than 2 decades now. And we are being joined by Boeing, Blue Origin, and SpaceX with additional vehicles. And soon we will have a human mission with Orion back to the moon and on to Mars. This is a picture of the Soyuz on its side after it's landed. Yours truly looking inside there for my 3 crew members, that 2 Americans and 1 a Russian. They're extracted and they're looking good after they're in their chair and actually get some medical support. Space medicine is really the ultimate in telemedicine. We have a flight surgeon assigned to each crew. We do all of their pre-flight, launch, mission planning, and landing, and post-flight as well. We have mission medical conferences with them once a week. We're limited on the timeline. We are on call for them 24/7. We provide medical care, ambulatory, as well as emergency care. We're prepared for depress, fire, tox, radiation, medical events as well. And our crew members are going 17,500 miles an hour and 210 nautical miles above us. We have had multiple medical events. Here's a listing of some of the ones that have occurred on shuttle. And then in the last 20 years, of course, on station, we've had more. Exploration medicine, we're limited by power, mass, volume, and I'd like to say time and money as well. We do use space analogs. So we've used the Nemo Aquarius habitat off the coast of Key Largo. We have a HERA space simulator, which is here at Johnson Space Center, Antarctica, and we have extreme environments as well that are analogs to space. The origin of this holoportation project started with actually an augmented reality project. The upper left-hand corner, you see a map of Johnson Space Center here in Texas. The lower left is Dr. Steve Piper, who was our simulation flight surgeon. The upper right shows Key Largo, where the Aquarius habitat, that lower right-hand corner picture, is an undersea habitat. And Dr. Piper and I utilized our system to do a augmented reality test. Basically, we had Samantha Cristoforetti, upper left-hand corner, you see a picture of her wearing a HoloLens, and then a diver was our simulated patient. And Dr. Piper was able to get history from the simulated patient and found through an examination using the telemedicine and using a Microsoft HoloLens where he was having difficulty breathing. And using that same simulated history and with the HoloLens, he was able to tell Cristoforetti where to listen to the patient, and they found that he had a simulated tension pneumothorax. So the holoportation system that we're using, the background is that it's actually taken a person from one location to another. In this picture, you see Nathan Ream, who is one of the 2 developers, who was actually in Huntsville, Alabama, and he was transported to the other developer's house, Dr. Fernando de la Pena Yaca, and his house office is in Houston. He was actually transported there using a HoloLens and a Kinect camera. The project we were attempting to do would be a technology demonstration. So we did a one-way holoportation and then also a 2-way holoportation. And then in the future, we'd like to do haptics as well. The operational use cases for this holoportation are to use it in a private medical conference, for private psychological conferences, families we'd like to bring in as well, and then also do telemedicine and teleteamwork. And eventually, we'd like to bring the general public in and some VIPs perhaps. The concept of operations are that we use 2 HoloLenses, one on the ground and one in orbit. And you can see the left-hand corner picture there shows the HoloLens on board. And then we use some specialized software called HoloWizard that was developed by Access Aerospace. And that is installed from a Pluto module that's installed on the holoportation equipment. And then there's a Kinect camera that's on the ground that actually was utilized to use a picture there. The right-hand lower corner shows the flight surgeon actually being transported from a conference room. And then it had to go through, of course, the Johnson Space Center networks and up to the space station. Here's a picture of the system overview showing that the ground PC that we used. We did not use the internet. We actually used the Johnson Space Center and then White Sands and other networks to get to space. It's a picture showing some of the networks and some of the switches as well. Won't go into detail there, but it's basically outside of the regular internet and using that equipment as I talked about. And fortunately, we were successful. We had the first human holoportation to space on the 8th of October, 2021. And that's the image of the first human to orbit there. Our objectives for the human holoportation were to connect, number one, for the first time to do that as a human, and then confirm the audio and video with a virtual handshake. Then we demonstrated a cranial nerve exam, the oculomotor function, as well as a visual field, and then the cranial nerves as well. We followed with a demonstration of an orthopedic knee exam. We showed some documents, and then we had good interactions between the flight surgeon and the crew. It didn't work the first time. This is a picture of Megan MacArthur where we had issues with audio, and then also the Connect software was not working well. But it did work the second attempt. We had the first one-way holoportation with the ESA's astronaut Thomas Pesquet, and it worked. It was a full holoportation. The session was stable, and we had good resolution. The audio was difficult because it is very loud on the space station, and also we had some difficulties with some of the other connections, but it worked. The second thing I did was I grabbed everybody that was in the control room there, and we were all holoported to space. We got some great PAO, public affairs, and other responses. It went out to Forbes, to CNET, and several websites, and I've lost count of how many languages have been translated into. The second event was we did a holoportation handshake with Caleb Barron, another astronaut on board. It was successful as well. And it was interesting because the crew member said that actually I got very, very big in her personal space. She said, I've never had a flight surgeon in my personal space before because the images were very close to her. So we also had some audio issues as well, but we were able to work through those. We had a third one-way holoportation, again with Kjell Lindgren, an astronaut physician on board. It was very stable and it worked quite well. Then we did a two-way holoportation using Mark Pathy, who was a professional or astronaut through a private astronaut mission, and he was actually able to come down from the space station to the Mission Control Center and appear to me in front of me there in the Mission Control Center. I really felt like he was I was looking into a portal into the future. He was using a Connect camera on board and using our holo lens on the ground, and his image was floating right in front of me here on Earth. We had the examination images here, as you can see, and then, as I mentioned, we brought the whole team up with us as well. This is a picture of some of the new development of a two-way holoportation that's actually device agnostic. And so we're using iPhones and tablets, and then we're also using some of the Android system as well. And that should be coming out very soon. The limitations are that we have a very limited timeline to get on the space station. We have to use the NASA networks. It has to go through 5 or 6 firewalls as well as the security reviews. We're limited by a 5 megabyte bandwidth and one Connect camera on orbit and one HoloLens. And if you can use multiple Connect cameras, then you can get a 3D image as well. It was the first time anybody's ever done this, and it was actually successful. Then we were initially using the audio loops that we have for the space station normally, and then we used the PC as well. And the crew's impressions were very impressive. The holoportation team is not only those folks that were in the picture, but a lot of folks behind the scenes as well. They're listed here and uses several disciplines here at the Johnson Space Center. In the future, we'd like to use additional analogs to include NEMO, undersea habitat. The HERA, as I mentioned, it's a isolation habitat here at the Johnson Space Center, using it in Antarctica, and then undersea medicine as well. We'd like to send this out and deploy it with military units. And the next challenges will be the delayed communications. It really is, I feel, the ultimate in telemedicine, telementoring, and teleteamwork to be able to do this, and a new form of human exploration as well. I would love to collaborate with you. My name is Dr. Joe Schmid, joseph.f.schmid@nasa.gov, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.